Hi, I'm Adam Drake from Mugen Seiki Racing. Today I'm going to show you some of the things that I do to customize the feel, the grip, and the trigger on my Futaba 7PX radio. So here we have a closer look at my Futaba 7PX radio. And the first thing that I do is I wrap the grip with a tennis grip. And depending on the size of your hand, I do it for a couple reasons. For one, I have pretty long fingers, so I want to make the grip a little bit larger. But the other thing is, on really hot days, or it's like when it's kind of dusty and you're sweating a lot, if you don't have a grip on here, the radio to me just, the grip can kind of get sticky and kind of nasty. So by putting the tennis grip on, it does two things. It makes it a little bit more comfortable for my longer fingers, and it also stops your hand from sweating, just gives you a little bit better feel. The other thing is on the trigger, I bend the trigger so that it fits a little bit tighter, so there's more or less not as much play when I go from throttle to brake. And Futaba makes a few different triggers depending on the size of your finger or how large you want that gap to be. But if you want to go a different route and kind of customize it to where it feels right, you know, for your actual finger size, I actually just take a soldering iron and let the soldering iron heat up to where it's fully up to temperature. And then I'll pull to where the throttle is basically wide open. So you're putting a little bit of tension on the trigger itself. And then you'll just hold the soldering iron as close as possible without touching the trigger. And this will heat up the plastic to where it'll get soft. And the nice thing with using a soldering iron is that it will heat up in a really, really small area. So if you tried using a heat gun, it would heat up the whole trigger and could just cause problems. So with a soldering iron, it allows you to apply heat to a very small area, and then if you just keep applying that pressure while the soldering iron is there, eventually it'll get soft, start to move. Then you can put the soldering iron away and just hold the trigger with a little bit of pressure to decrease that gap between the brake side and throttle side. Once everything cools, you can kind of feel it, see how you like it. And then if it's too tight or the gap is still too large, you can take the soldering iron, apply heat again, and then just adjust that gap. So just something I do to make my Futaba 7PX as comfortable as possible for long main events.